Hello friends, I was asked to do a video on the Marlin Crawler Edition TF2. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible. I will tell you, however, there's a lot to go over. First thing I'll show you, and then we can get out of the way, is the factory radio. I do not use this. My son, my 3-year-old son, this is his radio to his rig. I took it out of this one. I figured, well, hey, why not? If it gets beat up, broke, I really don't care. It's kind of like a spare radio to me. And honestly, he has dropped it. He has thrown it. He's fallen with it. And it works great. It also can operate a winch. Has this 3-way switch in it. So that's a plus. I mean, a decent, it's a good RTR radio. Nothing wrong with it. Go over the body real quick. I've had some cracks happen around the screws. I just CA glue the inside of the body, try to keep it from cracking more. That seems to be working and doing the trick. However, my 7-year-old runs it more than I do, actually. He loves this truck, and cracks are going to happen. That's why I don't have the stickers on it. I actually saved the decal sheet. I'd actually like to get a new body, Marlin Crawler Edition, and sticker it up and have it as a Shelf Queen body. The Marlin Crawler body is different in a standard TF2 as it's got the comp cut on the front. The body doesn't extend down, and it's cut on the rear. So it's got a shorter rear end to it for a much better departure angle. That pretty much sums up the body. The only problem I've had with the body besides the cracking is the corner lenses. They were off the body when I first got it. What I did was try gluing them in with a lower gripping glue, you could say, and it did not work. They fell out. So I know in the future, I already have replacement lenses for it. I haven't, like I say, I'm not sure what I'm doing with this body yet, so I'm not too worried about it. But if I do something with it, I will I'll glue them in hardcore, make sure they don't fall out. Just to give you a peek at the interior that it does come with. This comes in the body. Pretty detailed, to be honest with you. Has the, sorry, it's been raining on me. This is like my 5th attempt at doing this video between rain and errors. So, but anyhow, it's pretty detailed for what it is. I already have a different interior to put in it anyhow, so no big deal. The electronics that are left in it from factory, the stock steering servo is still in it. It is by all means super sluggish, super weak. Out of the box, it will not turn the tires the way the truck sits right now. It won't move them full one way or the other. It's better than a TRX4 factory servo, but it's still not going to do it justice. I do have a Reefs 444 ordered and on the way. So hopefully within the next 4 or 5 days, I see it and can put it in and be done with my weak steering situation. I am, however, running it. It's not rated for above, I think, 6 volts. It's like 6.4 or something I think it's rated at. I'm actually feeding it 7.4 right now because I already set all my electronics up for my Reef servo whenever it gets here. So I've been feeding it voltage, and it's actually been doing well with it. It does a great job compared to how it was factory. It has a lot more torque to it. Now, will it burn up quicker because of that? Absolutely, probably. But hey, I'll use it till the Reefs comes. Factory ESC is still in the truck. This is actually my winch servo ESC controller. So whenever I get my servo in here, whether it be a winch servo or a bumper mount, this is my winch controller. So this will control my winch forward and backwards, momentarily switching on my hacked radio. I'll show you here in a little bit. So factory ESC is BEC output is 6 volts at 3 amps. That's not a whole lot to do too much of anything. So no matter what, I mean, it'll get you by, but it's definitely not where you want to be in the end. It does have the nice jumpers for drag brake or standard, LiPo or NIMI. This essentially is like a 1060 Hobby Wing ESC is about what it boils down to. So that's the only 2 electronics left in the vehicle. Like I say, the factory ESC is nothing more than my winch controller. I am running a Castle Mamba Micro X, and that is connected to my Holmes Hobbies Revolver 1800 kV. If you don't know what a outrunner is, this is an outrunner motor. You can see I can spin as I spin the outside of the can, the actual pinion and spur are turning as well. The Mamba Micro X basically has a BEC that is even worse than the factory ESC. If I remember correctly, I think it's like 2 amps max at its most output. I do have a 10 amp Castle BEC inside of here that is running the servo. All this is doing is just powering the receiver and basically giving signal. That is all it's doing. I have a BEC bypass in here for the servo, so I'm running 7.4 volts to my servo, and this is just putting out the standard 6 volts just for the radio system. I currently have a 3000 mAh pack in here. This is not what I'm going to run in the end. I'm going to run a 2000, still 3S. I don't do anything other than 3S. It's where my happy spot is. The only one that gets anything below that is my 3-year-old. He gets the 2S packs, so he don't need to be zipping around, so he doesn't. So whenever this truck first came, this battery tray was flipped a whole way around. The battery used to sit in the back, and what I did is I just undone that, flipped it around. The screw holes line up perfectly. Sits down. It clears everything. There's absolutely no problems with clearance. Puts it in there. It works out perfectly. Put your weight up front. It's a free mod that makes a difference. And free mods that make a difference are priceless. So excuse the wiring mess. I literally just threw this together. I just got the BEC. And I only had a couple hours to do a little bit of stuff, and moving the tray around and doing some other things was part of that. So it's definitely a work in progress. They all should be a work in progress, the way I look at it. So I'm never finished. Now that we got the electronics out of the way, this is a single speed transmission. It goes to a transfer case. This transfer case is flippable, and you can have basically overdrive in the front, underdrive in the rear. It's possible to do it with the factory stuff. You just got to do some flipping and some modification. The shock hoops differ from the regular TF2 as these are Glenda 2 shock hoops. They are a taller shock hoop, and that gives you more suspension travel. So there's a lot of stuff that the Marlin crawler, you'll notice the Marlin crawler is more in price. There's a lot of stuff it comes with that are optional parts for everything else. This bumper is steel. Goes to an aluminum chassis brace, which is connected to the aluminum frame. So it's solid up front. The rear is a flexible plastic. The sliders are flexible plastic. It's fine. It gets you started. The modifications I've made besides flipping that is taking the internal shocks, springs out. There's springs inside these shocks. Pull them out. That gets you some flex to it. Without doing any modifications out of the box, this thing is a pogo stick. So it has no flex, no nothing. The other difference between this truck and the actual TF2 standard edition is Yoda 2 axles on this truck. A TF2 standard one does not have Yoda 2 axles. It has Yoda 1. Yoda 2 axles have a removable pumpkin cover. So this cover, you undo the backside, and this cover comes off. And you can change it out. They make ARB ones, RC4WD does. They make some really nice stuff. You can really make it your own. So me personally, I was going to keep these ones on there for a little while. I don't really care. Also, the size, the diameter of the Yoda 2 axles is smaller than a Yoda 1, just for a more scale look. I mean, it really looks good. The other main difference, and this is only on the front axle, of course, is the turning radius. It also has CVs in it. So the turning radius on the Yoda 2 is amazing. Almost too good. Here's what happens with a factory tire and wheel package. As you can see, I'm into my springs, and it happens turning forward and turning reverse. And, I mean, the steering will turn this far, too. As you can tell by my springs, they're kind of a little bit jacked up. So, and it does, you can see there, it has a pretty good grip on it. So the other thing that this truck I will show you is the wheel and tire package is amazing. Beautiful. and the tires are extremely good for what they are. This is the best RTR tire package I've ever seen. Steel stamped wheels, true bead locks. Each one of these is scale hardware and they are real. In a bag you get 2 screws for the bumper, and this bumper comes separate. It's not in the same, it's not on the truck when you get it pulled out of the box. It's sitting in a bag. There will be 3 screws in that bag. 2 of them go in the bumper. One of them goes in a hobby grade wrench set. You basically take your bit out, like say you take a 2mm or 1.5 mil, take your bit out of your wrench, put in the extra screw that it came with, tighten your screw down on your wrench so that you can use your wrench as a tool, and you can tighten all these down or take them off and do what you need to with a wrench. It's actually a tool. It is not a spare screw to have laying around. It's actually part of your tools. So just so you're aware, these are also 1.7 wheels and tires. RC4WD Drive is currently the only one making 1.7 inch wheels. So future note for you, I have seen some Pitbull Rock Beast and other tires on these wheels, so I do know they will fit. How much work was involved in doing that, I don't know. I'm not real interested. I'm honestly going to leave these wheels and tires mounted together. They work great and they look great. And I'm going to get a set of 1.9 standard wheels and put a set of Class 1 tires, which are 4.19 in diameter. I haven't decided which brand yet. Onto this for more or less competition Class 1 style stuff. So we went over the axles. I told you about what I did with the springs. Now I also pulled the small helper leaf spring off to give it more flex. And that made a huge difference. So pulling that off really made it stand up and flex and do what it needed to do. It can go to work now. The things I don't like about this truck are the steering. I don't like they put it behind. This is like what HPI did as well. The steering is actually behind. Now in this truck, I really don't like it. I'd rather it be up here. I feel like there's extra play involved from it not being in the same screw at the same spot. I just don't like that design. So I'm going to get a link made that goes across the front and does what this essentially does, just more solid. Whenever I got this link was actually on backwards. It actually smashed right against the spur gear anytime you compress the suspension. I didn't run it like that. I seen it right away, but just so you're aware, check if you get one, check yours, make sure that it's cleared, it's on correctly. One of the biggest engineering things that they missed was if you're coming up on an obstacle and you put any kind of pressure against the front of this, look at this. It actually causes so much bumping steering. Yeah, I mean, it's completely changed direction of where I'm going. And also, if you look, it's completely changing where the axle is. So, you know, there's not a whole lot of people that actually bring this up. I find this is a major downfall. Thankfully, a company named A&M Garage, owner is Bert. I know Bert personally. I met Bert. Excellent guy, knows his stuff. I mean, he's world-class driving, world-class. He does a lot with TF2s. He makes TF2s work amazing. He actually designed a kit that replaces this front, makes the front solid so that the suspension doesn't move back and forth, and changes all this stuff around and fixes all the geometry and all the stuff they've done wrong right here. That kit's like 20 bucks. Just so you're aware, that's one upgrade I am ordering. He also makes a skid plate that gives you more ground clearance. This thing is nothing more than a rock catcher. It hangs up on everything. It's like a big tongue sticking out there or whatever you want to call it. It hangs up on everything. Bert's skid plate pushes that farther up into the truck, gives you more ground clearance, and it's smooth from here to here rather than having that one catch spot. So he also makes rock sliders that go with it, and they are stainless. Everything's stainless. Goes right here. I believe it's stainless anyway. Don't hold me to that 100%. It may be aluminum, but it's nice stuff, and he beats the snot out of his stuff in development, so it will work. The rear, the problem I've seen with this, and right here, if you back up into something and you catch a rock or something, you see what my spring done here? And it'll stay like that. It's basically locked. It is not going to let any flexing happen. I've had this happen to me once or twice now. The only way to get that is you physically got to touch the truck and release it. There is parts for this as well. Bauhaus RC makes one that keeps that from happening. It eliminates that problem. So I highly suggest getting one of their kits. I think it's only 12 bucks. Dixieland RC has that part in stock. So just so you are aware, my other main gripe about this truck is the fact that the screws are absolutely terrible. Most trucks like the Traxxas TRX4, yeah, the screws will rust, but they're decent screws. They're not complete garbage. This truck, the screws are complete garbage. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are the worst screws I've ever seen in a hobby grade vehicle, period. I'm ordering a Team K&K stainless steel kit for it, just because that's what I want to go with it, and it needs it desperately. I basically went through and took all my screws out. I had to Dremel with a cutoff wheel just to put a groove in it and take it out with a flathead screwdriver. My tools are really good. I got great tools. I never had a problem with them, but these screws are just garbage. So I had to grind a lot of screws, slit the head on it to pull them out. I will say all the screws were, since they're going into metal, all the screws from the factory had Loctite on them. So that's something that's, I mean, most companies don't do that, period. This one did. So I give them credit for that, but Loctiting junk screws just ends up bad. So I can't say it any different than that. It just is not a good spot to be. So I know I talked to some people. They were kind of curious with the noise that the revolver made. So I will fire this up and show you the revolver running, so you kind of get an idea on what it's like, just for your own reference. Really, just in general, though, to sum up the TF2 Marlin Crawler Edition, I love it. My son loves it. It has some problems, without question. However, them problems are not complete hang-ups. There is solutions out there for them. And, I mean, I've been beating on this. This motor is a torque monster. And I have not been destroying or broke really anything. The drive shafts, I forgot to mention, are upgrades from the standard TF2 edition. They're more like a TRX4 style drive shaft. I will also tell you, axial and TRX4 style drive shafts will not work on here without, if you see the output shaft of the transfer case, see how it sticks out? You basically got to shave 1 millimeter off of that for it to work with other third-party axle or drive shaft manufacturers. A&M Garage also got together with Super Shafty. Super Shafty makes super high-end bomb-proof stuff, tough as you can get. And he actually got an axle set made. After you do this transfer case mod and get your skid plate on, it'll change the length of your drive shaft you need. You can still get away with these ones as far as what I'm understanding. But he has a set of drive shafts that are MIP, super shafty customized, that'll fit right on here and make this whole truck just a beast. But with that being said, I'll just... So we can hear some definite hums there. I really can't, I don't have a camera person, so I can't hold it up and run it, but... You want to see that revolver work? This is a great shot. So now I do not have the factory pinion in anymore. I have downsized. I just wanted to just knock a couple teeth off of it, running on 3S. That's was kind of not where exactly I wanted to be. It was fine by all means. I didn't have a single problem with it driving it, but my like I say, my 7-year-old runs this a good bit, and I wanted to put something that's just with something that knocked the temperature down for my ESC. And this micro ESC has no problem running a SCX-10.2, standard SCX-10, Vitera Ascender, G-Made, oh boy, the list goes on. Charisma, Coyote, the what is that? The Red Cat Gen 7. This ESC has no problem running that, running like a 80 kV, 2850s, kind of pushing it. I don't think I would be the one to put it in a Traxxas TRX4 though. I am using, like I say, I'm using the aux port on it. I can control my drag brake from my hack FlySky radio, and it works great. Well, that pretty much sums up the Marlin crawler. I'm going to get off here now. I'm at like 20 minutes, which is crazy for what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If somebody in the group does want a video on something, and it's something I have, I'll be more than happy to try to get you a video on it. I don't have any kind of camera set up yet, and I don't know if I'm going to get one, to be truthful with you. But if I get enough requests for videos or something like that, then maybe I'll have to look into getting one. But right now I'm making it through this way. So if it's something I have, feel free to ask me. If you don't know if I have it, ask me and I'll let you know, yes, I can do it, or no, I can't. So you guys have a great day. Thank you for being in the group. If you watch this to the end, thanks for listening to me yammer on. And you guys have a great day. Take care. Stay safe out there.